Oha konbannichiwa, minasan. It has been a minute, to say the least. So, yeah, just an update. Last night, JLPT results dropped, and I passed. Yeah, so as you can see, I am quite the yapper. My listening skills, like I'm used to conversing, so my listening was pretty okay. Actually carried my exam, and then the reading and grammar and vocab, not so much. So, yeah, I think mainly it was because I haven't been doing too much reading over like the past, like last year during when I was studying. There was a lot of like watching videos, watching anime, watching YouTubers, and then noting down vocab, and then just kind of forgetting about it. So I could hear things pretty well, but when it came to like reading it on the paper or trying to find like abstract ideas in passages, I just couldn't really get a good grasp. But yeah, so other than that, I did just get back from Japan. Here, I'm gonna put some pictures on the wall behind me for those non-believers. And you might have also noticed that my background is a lot more boring now. So I've actually moved. I moved out. I moved to a new spot, new crib. So been getting used to that. And yeah. It was a good trip in Japan. I didn't really have to resort to using English, which was nice. And I'm sorry, this video is gonna have minimal editing. I'm actually working full time now. I get this is weird. Yeah, the actual minimal editing. This is my webcam now, just the NVIDIA app. It's a new year to me, right? So let's kind of see what we've done this year. Okay. Yeah, so you can see on average, here's kind of my cards for the next year, obviously, but yeah, so right now I've got a pretty heavy load, but it'll go down throughout the year, assuming I don't add new cards here, which I probably will. I'm gonna kind of rely on JPDB for a little bit, so I can kind of take my hands off the steering wheel for SRS. Dude, it's so I gotta get posters. This is like really depressing. It's just a gray wall. Sorry, my fan is just tweaking out. Yeah, so anyways, stats. You get out of here. You know what? Here, I'll go like this. Hold on. Oh, wait. Yeah, here we go. So, yeah, really small. I'm just gonna awkwardly sit here. I'm like hunched over. I'm in shrimp mode right now, just hunched over. So, yeah, going to my calendar from last year. Burnout. A big B word right in the middle there. You see that? That is burnout. Yeah. So it was really like I was really on a roll, and then I wasn't. I'm doing 4 cards a day, just keep the streak going, and then eventually it's just, ooh. This is when I traveled for an internship, a couple states away, and I was all alone. I had no one, no friends, no one around me for mental support. So yeah, I kind of crashed out, as the youngins say. Going strong kind of this year. I was in Japan, which, you know, I don't feel like it's good to be an Anki drone and Anki zombie when you're in Japan, unless you're on the train. That's kind of how I did it, or I would just read on the train. But yeah, going down to Gakusu. So we can see right before, this is when I was doing, what day was this? Oh, this was almost a year ago. What? Oh, this was when I was like really close to being done with RTK, and I was like, man, I gotta get all these cards in. I gotta make sure I want to finish this before I go off to my internship right here. Look at that. Just that sudden dip in studied cards. It was all mature stuff. I was coping and resorting to stuff I knew. Yeah. One thing I've really noticed throughout the years of studying Japanese is sort of like, you can see that I'm getting a lot more failures here, right? And then also the darker red is going to be on mature cards I should know, but I don't. Like, yes, those are way bigger than over here. You can also see, though, that consistently my mature cards are growing, and my learning cards I'm starting to get comfortable with. So yeah, I'm getting less wrong because I'm not studying as much, but it's like finding the balance between burning out because you're missing so many questions, and then just dealing with it to get this up gradually and consistently. So it is hard because it is mentally, for me, it's a mental game of just like how many incorrect cards can I get through before I crash out. But yeah, and then overall, here are my cards. And this is just in the Japanese deck, not that weird cybersecurity deck I have for some reason. I've put a lot of these cards that are on hold are actually either, it's like 800 of them are RTK3 cards. I guess 799 if we're getting technical. And then, I guess I'm putting my face here now. The rest are just usually like recall cards. So it'll be the English word, and then the kanji, or like the compound reading, or just the hiragana, whatever. And I found, it's just better for me now at this point to focus on the kanji, the compound reading, the word, and then the definition in Japanese, if I can understand that definition. If I can't, then I make a sentence card for that, and then if I can't understand that, then, so on and so forth. So, yeah. That's really what most of those cards are. And these ones, I don't know. I don't think I know that many words in Japanese, but I think a good amount is, like, I would say I probably know 8,000 words in Japanese, if we're being honest, and then maybe more based off of, like, a lot of those words are like compounds. And a new favorite word I learned recently, by the way, I think it's kobaku zawari. You were right the first time. It's kobaku zawari. Alright, sorry about that. Which is literally the word for a loaf for cats when they sit with their paws tucked under their tail. I don't know, thought it was kind of cool. Oh, and tsurara. Tsurara. It means icicle. I think it's a really cute name for something so sharp and dangerous. So I gotta do like a tier list for Japanese words. Kind of going through what I've been studying. Judge me as you will, by the way, for my deck choices. I had to start somewhere though. Yeah, so the novel I'm currently reading, Mata Onaji Yume o Mite Ita. It's really good, by the way. I would highly recommend it if you're trying to get into reading novels. I'm just about finished with that one. I've set a limit to only go up to 98% retention. It's not a magic number or anything. It's just like, if I understand around that much, my lookups are going to be either names, obscure words, or like the occasional like useful word that I will see later on in other works or literature. So yeah, it's not. I didn't look up any researches or any magic numbers. It's just more like, for me, like 98 sounds cool. I might even bump it down to 95 depending. But yeah, as you can see, I have really good taste in anime. Really good taste, by the way. Yeah. This is just song lyrics. You can put your own stuff in here, and then top 10K. So you can see I don't actually, allegedly, I don't know that many of the top 10K words. And then here's the next novel I was going to read. So what I was talking about is I saw this as a bestseller for a mystery novel. I bought Hennaye 1 and 2. And, I mean, yeah. Bought it from Kinokuniya in Japan. So what I'm doing is I'm going to watch those animes through. I'm going to read my novel. And then just make sure I'm familiar with all the words. And as I'm consuming enough, this number will get bumped up to around 85, 90, I'm hoping. And then that's kind of when I'm going to start picking up the book. So that I can start reading. And it's going to make the lookup process a lot less interruptive when I'm reading. Because my goal is to read. I'll put a picture of my bookshelf here, which, by the way, I'm very proud of that installation process. My dad helped me, but I think they look awesome. Don't tell the apartment I drilled like big holes into my wall, but yeah. Yeah, I plan to read all of those this year before I take the JLPT for N1. And as you could see in my score earlier, boy, that reading section needs some work. And not only that, the vocab and the grammar, dude. Those, I don't think they're in N1, but those like composition sentences with the grammar, we have to choose the right order. Oh my gosh, they're the bane of my existence. Like, I don't know whose idea it was to put those. Like, that's the closest thing to output they have on the exam, which is crazy to me. Whatever, I would rather yap with like a Japanese local and like get graded on that, because at least you can kind of steer the conversation, you can talk, and it's like, I don't know, man. I don't know. I'm just finding anything to complain about. They do have monolingual definitions for JPDB, but it is experimental, and it's like half the time. So if we go through a couple of cards, you can see start reviewing. ずらす。ベッドの上で腰をずらして、俺は壁側まで移動して壁に 背をよけ傾けた傾けた預けた yeah okay say that's right okay anyways see I promise I know some Japanese a little bit but yeah this is to like slip and do something smoothly without any jitters. Yeah. The one downside that about JPDB is their readings on some of their kanjis. So if we look up like Kenotsuka, yeah, I even looked it up. It reads this as gara, like design or pattern, when this is actually Kenotsuka, which is the handle of a blade of a sword, right? So if we actually look at the pictures here, hiruto, the hilt. Sorry, I don't know my blade anatomy, my sword anatomy, but yeah, you can see here. This is the tsuba, right? Divides the two, and then saya, which that one I think we have chain, but okay, that would be chain if I had the gold thing. I actually don't know. I know it means like a sheath. Just a quick yomiage, because I know that you guys know that I know Japanese, but just to kind of show you what 98% comprehension feels like. So, am I loud? Am I too loud? I might be. Whatever. You know what? I'm sorry. I'm a little loud. I'm just gonna read a quick page to kind of show you. We'll go through. Oh, I did just finish this. How far did I get? Damn. Okay. I'll read something I haven't read before, just so you guys aren't like, what is this guy doing? He's cheating. Is this clear? Okay, don't say anything if this is clear. Okay, cool. ごきげんよう、荻原くん。荻原くんは私の挨拶にとても驚いた様子で肩を震わせました。私は彼が振り返るのを待ちながら頭の中でI just read this 荻原くんと話す内容について考えました。私は最近僕らの7日間戦争を読んだわ。荻原くんは何を読んだのかしら。そんなことを考えました。私はもしかするとクラスに立った一人かもしれない。私のことを嫌いじゃない人と楽しいお話をすることで心を少しでも元気にできたらと願ったのです。それだけのことを願ったの。Is that still clear? Yeah. Okay. 人生とは風邪をひいた時に熱を測るみたいなものなのですね。だいたいいつも想像したよりひどい。私は確かに荻原くんの名前を呼びました。なのに荻原くんは全くこちらを振り向き始めました。もしかしたらきちんと聞こえてなかったのかもしれないわ。驚いたのは別のことに驚いたのかも。そう思ってもう一度声をかけました。ねえ、荻原くん。Yeah. So, that was it. As you can see, I just read that. That book has been read. But that's usually how most of my, that's my typical reading speed. Whenever I'm reading that book. And yeah, I think at that rate I'll be done. If I read, I probably have 7 more hours of reading, pretty much. I am a slow reader right now, but yeah, probably about 7 more hours and I'll be done. It's a really good book though. As you can see, some of the vocab, at least for me, a lot of that stuff is stuff I've already learned. So it's easy to follow the plot. It's just more me getting more comfortable with the nuances and kind of now I'm practicing not really, if I see the word sozo, imagination, I'm not trying to translate it to English, right? Well, let's go through one of the sentences I read, just to also double whammy prove that I kind of understood what I just read, right? Okay, so, what's a good one? Okay,
人生とは風邪をひいた時に熱を測るみたいなものなのですね。だいたいいつも想像したよりひどい。
Right? So instead of translating all of that, right, which I could right now, which would be, life is, in a way, like having a fever and measuring your fever. It is worse than your imagination. It exceeds your expectations in a bad way. Instead of doing that, see, I didn't even translate that word by word to get that. What I did is, and what I've been doing and practicing is, sometimes I'll sit for a moment, I'll close my eyes, and I think, those words I just heard in Japanese, what image is it going to make, right? So instead of thinking Japanese to English to image, I think, okay, Japanese to image. So when I think, okay, netsu, so someone's in a fever, and then hakaru, okay, so there's a thermometer in their mouth because they're, hakaruing, as they say, measuring. Okay, and then what they say, だいたいいつも想像したよりひどい. So, whenever you're expecting or imagining a fever, right? So I'm thinking, okay, I've had this experience before, I can relate. I thought my fever was going to be 101, but I've actually had it be 103 before. And I'm just imagining this, in Japanese. And it's things like that. There are other cases of imagery, right? Where there might be something about a handkerchief or someone's embroidery on their school outfit, and I'll think about that. Not necessarily go, okay, shishu, that's embroidery, and then gakkou seifuku, that's school. Like, I'm not going word by word, and that really helps you get in the flow of things. And I feel like I've been able to do that really well with this book. So, yeah, there's the proof. Now you can't call me a faker. Unless I deliberately learned only those words off of that page, which, that is actually very possible. So, yeah. Anyways, you can trust me, though. Yeah, comment down your credit card and your last 4 of your social security. I think my method is going to be read those books, and then if I think one of the books I'm going to read is pretty easy. It's like a career book. It's called Jibun Teiyu Kabe? Yeah. I don't know why. The cover is just really cute, and it was like $9, so I was like, yeah, I'm gonna buy it. But yeah, it seems like a cool book. It just kind of gets you thinking. I think while I'm reading that, I'm probably gonna try to gear into a harder anime or TV show. I've been watching. Okay, you know what? New section of the video. Maybe I will have to edit this. Okay, so I'm gonna switch back to my main camera. Hold on. There we go. Okay. So, here, Kodoku no Gurume is a really good show. There's this dude, and he's like a supplier for like ceramics and dishes and cups. And he doesn't like his job. And after he's done dealing with his clients, he'll be on the way home. He's like, dang, I'm hungry. I want some fire food. I want, X, Y. I want Chinese food. I want, what else did he have? He's like, oh, I could really use some good sushi right now, or seafood. And then he just goes to a real restaurant. Like, these restaurants actually exist, and he just glazes them. He just gets like such good-looking dishes and eats them and compliments them. All in Japanese, of course, because it's a Japanese show. So you get a lot of good, rich vocab of like describing like mouth textures and mouth feels. And yeah, it's really nice. It's the same plot every episode, but with slightly different side quests and restaurants. And yeah, so it's like really easy to get into that flow and just kind of focus on the dialogue, which is really nice. It's a really good comfort show. It's on Netflix if you have a Japanese VPN, and if not, then ARG. Okay, yeah, so, yeah. I'm sorry, that was so awkward. So, and then here we have a picture of my books. I'm gonna talk about each one. I actually don't have I'm gonna pull the picture up on my phone. Give me a second. There we go. Okay. I stopped reading Majo no Takyubin. It's a good book. It's a good movie. It's just like Also, it's Kiki's Delivery Service, by the way, in the English title. But it was good, and like I was learning a lot of vocab, and then I don't know. It's not that I got bored, but I think it's that I got busy. So I want to pick it back up, but probably after I'm done with my little mystery arc, because I got a lot of mystery books, so I'm gonna run through those. On the just starting from the top shelf next to Majo no Takyubin, you can obviously see we've got Jibun to Yukabe and Sekai no Ichiryu wa Kyojitsu ni nani o shite iru no ka. So what does the world's leaders or like most successful people do in their free days or their days off, I guess. Yeah, so those two books, right, are really like business, emotional, intelligence oriented, which is like, I don't know. I'm trying to figure out how to grow up. If I'm gonna do it in English, I gotta do it in Japanese too. So I just got those. Moving on to the middle shelf with my nerdy Rubik's Cube. I know. Make fun of me. Kimi no Na wa. I bought it. I read half a page and I put it down. I don't know why. I think it's because I watched the movie like 6 times. I know the plot, and the vocab in there is actually pretty straightforward. I would definitely recommend it if you're trying to get a grasp of what it feels like to like read novels and get comfortable with them. I kind of use that as like a kind of what would it feel like to read a half page of novel, and I did it at the time, and I was like, yeah, cool. I'll come back to that in a year or so. Next to that, 死刑に至る Bio, or is that Yummy? I think that's Bio. No, it's Yummy. It's Yummy. So, this is a cool book. It is a mystery book where there is a like criminal. I don't know if it's criminal psychology. I'm just gonna go with that. Criminal psychology student in college, and this guy on death row reaches out to him, and he's like, "Hey, I didn't do this. Can you help me like prove why I didn't?" And yeah, I've heard it's really good. I think they're making or made like a live action for it, so I'm gonna probably watch that. And then we have Oriental Kyuko no Satsujin, so Murder on the Oriental Express, pretty popular book in English. This is just the Japanese translation, so I'm either gonna read the book in English or get just a synopsis of it so I can kind of follow better, because I haven't read it in English, but I've heard good things. And then the beloved glazed books from earlier, Hennaiye 1 and 2, which is I don't know what it is. I'm trying not to surprise myself too much, but I was looking through the vocab list, and there's stuff about dead bodies, and then floor plans according to the covers of the books, which I'll paste right here in this nice empty wall that I have now. And then we have Michi Ariki. I think it's like another emotional, spiritual book. Some Oba-san like recommended it to me when I was trying to get into reading. So it is probably a book geared towards older women. Maybe spiritually I'm a Japanese old woman. I don't know yet. So I'll get to that book and see what I think. And another one she actually recommended to me was Kamisari na na Nichijo. So there's this like construction worker, I think, and he's just going around his daily life in like a really small town, and introduces a lot of cool characters and their relationships. And yeah, I mean, it's just a really good way to see people interacting with each other and forming like communities and relationships in Japanese. And that's as far as I know from what I was reading. And I might be completely wrong because my Japanese at the time was worse than it is now, and that is saying something. And then to the right of that, you have a Rubik's Cube. And yes, I know how to solve that somehow. Tokyo Revengers. Yes, the plastic wrap is off, but I actually have not opened or read it. It is just sitting there. I'm sorry. And I'm sorry, and also thank you, because I know half of the people here probably love Tokyo Revengers, and the other half are saying it's not so good. But correct me if I'm wrong. And then we got One Piece, One Piece novels. Yes, they're a thing. There are no pictures in there. It is all text, baby. So I'm gonna have to bust those ones open, and then Nandaka Koware Maru? I actually don't know what that is, but there was a Japanese garage sale kind of outside of a grocery store I was working at, and I just walked up and I said konnichiwa, and they were like, oh, Nihongo jouzu desu ne, and I was like, yeah, and they're like, oh, Kenson, hai kore, and then they just handed me like a ton of manga. So how could I say no? Hunter x Hunter. I have read the first volume and I've watched the entire anime 2-3 times through. Really good. Miruko-chan. I've read all of those. Karada Sagashi. I've read 1 and 2. Chihaya Furu. I read a little bit of neither of those actually. They're both wrapped up. And then the one in that leather case is Mata onaji yume o mite ita. So I am just about done with that. And then also, if you're ever in Tokyo or just Japan, go to Hands. It is a really cool stationery store. I got some really nice graphite and colored pencils and nice books to take notes in. So yeah, really affordable too. So this year, I'm going to read from the top shelf, 自分という壁。世界の一流は充実に何をしているか? And then, from the Rubik's Cube shelf, the middle one, we're going to read 死刑に至る闇、オリエント急行の殺人、変な家 1 and 2. I'm probably going to skip those 2 books for now. To the right. And I want to finish reading また同じ夢を見ていた. I think I'll be done in like a week, tops. So if we tally those numbers up, we get 1 book, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 10's a nice number. I'm gonna find more books to read. I'll find more to read. But yeah, clearly my listening is okay. I don't want to rely on the JLPT for everything to like judge how good I am at stuff, but I do feel pretty comfortable with my listening and my talking to an extent. I feel like I'm going to get the most bang for my buck if I'm just reading and just actively, looking up a word here and there. But yeah, we're going to see how it goes. But if everyone would, if you can, did you take the JLPT? If so, comment down your results or how you felt about it. And if not, in general, I mean, how's your Japanese journey going? Would love to see some comments. If you have any tips for your study methods, anything that you'd share with me, or anything that maybe I might be doing wrong in your eyes and you want to talk about it, or maybe give me a nudge in the right direction, because I am by no means good at Japanese yet, and I know a lot of you guys are, so appreciate some advice. But yeah, I hope you guys take it easy and have a wonderful weekend, and thanks for tuning in to my AJATT update number 2. But yeah, until next time, I'll see you in a week or a few months, I don't know. Either way, let's keep studying together. Or as they say, 頑張りましょう!
Every night books every day up. Every day patches the night up. Oh God, you should match it, it's like KO. No white letter, still I fuck my 28th up. 1998, my family had the Acura. Oh, the legend. Kept at least 6 discs and a change. Back on Boswell and Percy had it active. Couple bishops in the city building